Hey, real estate rock stars, welcome to the whole enchilada of real estate investing, the only podcast that serves up the full feast of street smart strategies to build wealth and take control of your financial future. I'm Lou Brown, and I've been in the real estate game since 1976, so I've learned how to make the whole plate worth it. Each week, I'll be dishing out creative financing hacks and proven systems that help investors build multi-million-dollar businesses. No fluff, just the good stuff straight from the source. Ready to dig in and start making deals? Let's get to it. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the whole enchilada of real estate investing with Lou Brown. And oh my gosh, I've got somebody, an Aussie buddy now, Steve Keighery, and he's going to tell us who he is and what he does and where he's from and where he is now and all that good stuff. Take it away, Steve.
Awesome. Appreciate you having me on the show. Yeah, so I'm Steve Keighery. Originally, I live in New Orleans, Louisiana now, but yeah, obviously it's not the Southern accent you probably were expecting. Southern Hemisphere, down under is where I'm from. I grew up in Sydney, Australia, Bondi Beach, all nice area. But, I did the same path a lot of people do. I was like going to school. I went to university. In my head, I was going to get this nice job. I studied marketing and economics, and that was my plan, to get a job, maybe working for Coca-Cola or something like that. But in 2000, while I was 2 years into my degree, one of my friends convinced me to go see someone speak. And I wasn't really into people speaking. That wasn't my style, but he dragged me for whatever reason. I went and I saw Robert Kiyosaki on the stage in Sydney, Australia, talking about the cash flow quadrant and, assets and liabilities, and just like my brain just expanded. And literally in that moment, everything changed. I had 2 more years at university, and I spent that time, I consumed all of Robert's books. I listened to all these tapes, and yes, they were cassette tapes. That's how old I am. And brainwashed myself to that being an entrepreneur was better than being an employee. I wanted to be in the cash flow quadrant as he describes it. I wanted to be in the B side and the I side. So when I graduated, I decided not to get a job and took that step to start my own business. I used my marketing skills to start a company called Effective Marketing Solutions, doing consulting for small businesses, helping them grow, which led me to I did some mergers with some other people and partnered up, and we ended up getting into High Pages, which was a 2-sided marketplace connecting homeowners with contractors, like builders, architects, etc., with homeowners. Similar to, if you got an American audience, similar to Angie's List, Home Advisor, those sorts of businesses. And had a lot of success with that. We grew that to 300 staff. We ended up IPOing on the Australian Stock Exchange, which was a huge milestone for me. Something Robert Kiyosaki spoke about and I read about. He always said, you make money when you sell shares, not when you buy them. So if you can sell shares without ever buying them, which is when you IPO, you're basically selling shares in a company, never bought those shares, created them. I was proud of that, and I took a break. Robert Kiyosaki again also speaks about in his book, Retire Young, Retire Rich. He speaks about when he first exited his business, he took a year off. He's one of his advisors said, you got to take a year off, do nothing. Don't think about your next move. So I took that advice, and part of that year off was coming to New Orleans. We love America. I've been in 28 states. New Orleans is our favorite city. So I decided we're going to come here, spend 6 months just relaxing, enjoying ourselves. And that 6 months was 8 years ago. So we enjoyed it a little bit too much, and I wanted to do more property. So I looked at the market here in New Orleans. I went to the New Orleans Real Estate Investors Association, started to connect with the market, see what was going on. I learned about wholesaling through Noria, and my background was sales and marketing, because I ran sales and marketing for our company. Realized that wholesaling was very much aligned with sales and marketing. So I got into wholesaling. I started Home Buyer Louisiana. I buy rentals as well, so I wholesale a lot. I keep rentals too, do a lot of burring, and that's what I'm doing now is Home Buyer Louisiana.
Oh, we love it. We love it. Definitely. That's our world. I know the folks down in New Orleans, and I've even got a duplex down there. So it's been a fun journey to definitely be in that world with holding properties long term is one of our favorite things. And, we don't like landlording. So we like a stepped process beyond landlording to give people an opportunity to have a better life than the one they've got by ending up with home ownership. So we've got the path to home ownership. But one of the interesting things about rental properties is we've got like 25 profit centers over and above the normal landlord. And so providing additional services to the clients is one of our favorite things. So I'm glad to hear that you are a buy hold person, because that's the name of my book, is buy, hold, sell. Cash now, cash flow, and cash forever. And
Love it.
and that's what holding a portfolio of properties can do for you. So congratulations on that, man. That's and so you self-manage?
I do not. I have a property manager, which is an interesting nuance between Australia and America. So in Australia, so I had some rentals in Australia. I bought 6 rentals there, and in Australia, pretty much everyone uses a property manager, and it means that property managers are a commodity. They're actually pretty easy to find. They're cheap, and they're good in general. I found coming to America with the opposite. Like no one really uses property managers. They're hard to find. They're often not good. So the culture was different. Luckily, I did find a property manager who was really good. As I was wholesaling, he actually was one of my buyers. He owns 100 units himself. So like he's an investor. I met him and through a relationship with him, selling him properties, seeing what he did. So I knew that he was credible, and knew what he was talking about. So when I started buying them, got him to manage them for me. And that kept a lot of headaches. I've had people die in my units. I've had someone drive a car into one of my units. I've had all these headaches, but the difference is like I haven't lived them. I've been like my property manager says, "Hey, Steve, just need you to know someone died in the unit. It's okay. We sat there when the coroner came, the people came, we sorted it, we're getting it cleaned out. I just want you to know." And so like I didn't have all the headaches of trying to figure out what that does. So that was beneficial.
Wow. Yes, yes. It's very beneficial to not have those the pain and suffering, right? That's again another reason why we don't want to do that part of the business, but we don't mind helping people to end up with home ownership and have them be responsible for the general use and maintenance of the property. It's far better.
Yes.
So I understand. In fact, the duplex that I have in New Orleans, I sold exactly that way. The people put $60,000 down, and then we became the bank for them, and they rehabbed the property, and we had rehabbed it, but not to the extent that they did. And they're renting out one side and living the other. So it made
That's a nice down payment. That's not my model. I'm usually I had done it once. I do have a lease option in Kenner, which is just in Jefferson Parish next to us. So they put 10K down, 60K down makes it pretty nice.
that's the path to home ownership.
You
I
go.
I joke about landlording because I say landlords never get this kind of down payment when somebody
Yeah.
moves in,
Yeah.
right? You
You're
you
right.
just you get the first month's rent and a security deposit that you can't even spend. Who wants that? So it's another way of looking at what you're doing, even with the same properties that you already have. It's just a different business model with that and offering it to the folks that live there. That's part of what we do in our world. So tell us about how you got into real estate because you've had such a varied background. You've got a tremendous business background and really, I mean, just taking it to the explosion level. What got you into the real estate side?
Well, I mean, it's still obviously the Kiyosaki thing because it was build a business and be an investor. So I first got into investing in Australia, and it was like very like now I'm a professional investor. Like real estate is my world. Like this is what I do. When I first started investing, it was more I was building my business. Our business was having success, so we're able to pay ourselves a pretty good salary. So I was also getting a good salary. I had the business, and I wanted to buy property. So I bought them from, I guess, I'll say the MLS. We don't call it that in Australia, but I bought them from the MLS, conventionally, put 20% down, got a mortgage. I didn't have an advantage in that, in like be able to buy under market. But what I did do was I picked my market. I did not buy where I lived. I live in Sydney. I live in Bondi Beach, man. It is beautiful, but it is expensive. And if you buy that property, you're gonna get lucky to get a 2% yield, like rent
Mm.
to the like you just it's you'll get a lot of appreciation. It's a great asset, but you're not getting any cash flow. So I wasn't going to invest there. So I looked and I did a lot of research on markets, looking at like the yields, looking at like population growth, median income growth. Like I really did the data to pick good markets. I ended up buying six, all in three different states, all in very different areas, very diversified. Never sold them, and I've sold them now. Sold them now. I've made good money on them, like 250K appreciation over 6, 7 years. And I bought them, managed them, and sold them. Never seen them, never set foot in them. I don't think I've even been in the zip codes that they are. But I had needed the market to do that heavy lifting. So I wasn't professional. Difference is now when I came to New Orleans, like I learned the market, and if I was to do the same data analysis in US, I wouldn't be buying in New Orleans. It's just I love this place, but I wouldn't be buying here. But what I learned here was there are other advantages. I learned about wholesaling. I learned how to market, how to find distressed property, how to put together deals. So now I'm buying here. I'm using those skills to buy under market value. So I don't really care about, I'm not trying to find the best appreciation because I'm making my money when I buy now, whereas before I had to make money when I sold. So, but my background is sales and marketing. So like I use that to find the properties. I love property. I love the asset. But I'm not very, I don't swing a hammer very well. I might struggle to change a light bulb. Like I'm not a handy person. So I use my sales and marketing as my way to get the assets.
I love it. I love it, man. That is so entertaining, right? You've had a transition, you've got some investment to work with, you've got a reason to live where you're at, and to analyze that market right there. And you're singing my song in terms of long distance investing. We have proven that you can invest anywhere. And a funny thing is, I found out I was a long distance investor in the town that I live in, Atlanta, Georgia. But I don't even, other people look at the properties, other people manage them. I don't do that part. So I'm a long distance investor. It really doesn't matter. The point is that you don't really have to do all the things that people think you have to do, right? You don't
I'll,
have
I'll
to walk the property yourself, right?
Yeah, I would probably go as far as to say I think it can be a disadvantage sometimes to be local if you make the wrong mistake. So think people think they think because they know an area, they think that they see it, that they see the property. But I actually would argue that properties I bought and sold and never saw, I've seen them more than any local would have seen them because like it was data, unobjective. Had my property managers look at it to make sure it's going to rent. I had property inspectors inspect the properties, of course. So like I looked at the reports deeply. I didn't rely on my eyes to walk in and go, oh, good property. The data, the professionals, everything spoke to me. And and because I wasn't just, if you're just using your eyes, I mean, how far can you see? There's a limit to how far you can see. So your world is pretty small. If you're using data and you don't need your eyes, your world becomes much bigger. So I actually argue it's an advantage to act like that.
So the numbers don't lie, right? The numbers are the numbers, the market is the market, and those are the things to evaluate before you even go visit with a seller. Very good advice. And also, when you're holding the properties, the numbers don't lie too. So if you're holding that property and not getting the full benefit of it, for example, raising rents, that's something that some landlords are very good at and some are very bad at, and they're really not getting the right kind of return on their investment. Do you raise your rents regularly?
Yeah, we do. My philosophy is like I always want to raise the rents because like you don't want to leave them stagnant. I will try to raise them a little bit less than the market's appreciate. So I don't try to match the market exactly. So my philosophy is if you go straight to the market, we give them an incentive to like move. So if the market's, if the market rent's gone up $200, I might raise it 100. So I'm still getting an increase, but I'm still giving them a better deal because obviously it is expensive to do terms. When you get a new tenant, you got to spend money. So it's better to keep them. So I will definitely increase, but just at a slower rate than the market.
That's smart. That's one of the things that I teach too is that, hey, the dollar is worth less. A dollar in January is a different dollar in December. and
Yeah.
we always have to keep up with inflation at at the very minimum. So you should raise rents every single year, regardless of what's going on. And the truth is, people just won't move. They might make noises like they are, then they go check the market and find out, well, it's not so bad.
Yeah,
It's,
exactly.
it's not so bad. So I'll retract that. I think I'm going to. So it tends to work out for landlords because we have this long-term relationship with these folks. And one of the extra things is they're on the path to home ownership too, with what we're doing with folks. So it really does help as well. So
Mhm.
tell us, you are doing this business. Do you intend to continue to acquire properties and continue to hold properties?
Absolutely. But I mean, I do try to balance. So I bought a lot of properties in 2020, 2021. Like, I think I bought like 15 rentals in 1 year. And what I did realize was though that like rentals are slow money. I'm not going to down payment like you, right? So the rentals are slow money, really value the way that it protects against inflation. I put 30 debt on it and I'm holding it. So that debt is getting eroded by the inflation. So I really value the long term. But if I buy 15 a year, it's not adding a lot. It's not really adding a lot to now, when I'm factoring in vacancy, maintenance. So you also need fast money. And for me, wholesaling the fast money. It's like I'm getting cash now, living off the wholesaling. So I do try to balance in and out. So I've been less aggressive with the rentals the last 18 months just because I had a lot. I was letting those settle. I'm starting to, so I always come in and out. What I will always do though is I love wholesaling. I think wholesaling is such a good thing to do in real estate because I had the deals. The deals flow through me all day. All day, full time. I got a team. We're looking at deals every single day. So I'm able to make money by selling them and like signing my contract to all the buyers in my network. And I can always just pick. I've always got a flow of deals, so I can pick. Generally, what I do, like I said, I'm not a good rehabber, so I keep the easy deals. I don't want to say the good deals, right? Because all my deals, I will never send a deal out to my buyers and isn't good, right? But good to a lot of my buyers, they love a big rehab. So the worse it is and the cheaper it is, the better. They want the cheaper, terrible, let me redo everything. That's not me. So I like the one that's still priced wholesale, but it's like I might need to clear out some trash, paint. I don't need to pull a permit. That's the ones I keep. So by wholesaling, continue to wholesale, always have deals flowing through. So I'll never stop wholesaling, and I'll just be able to pick what I like and just stay active in the
You're
industry.
a cherry picker. You're a cherry
Yes,
picker.
sir.
Let me pick all the cherries. Let everybody have the fun. Let everybody
Yes,
else have
sir. Yes,
fun.
sir.
I agree with you 100%. In fact, my phone is, I literally have hundreds of wholesalers in my phone. And one of the things that you learn is when you own property, the wholesalers are coming after you. They're
Yes. Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
"Do
We
you have
find
something
you.
for sale?" And every time I say, "Who is this, please?" And then I grab their name and telephone number. I save them in my phone, and then I've got them for when I do have something that's a wholesale deal, and I've got all of them in there.
That's it. That's
Work
it.
it right back to they provided me with the pathway to be able to capture the relationship, and I love
Yeah.
it. So guys, always connect with wholesalers. I took one to lunch just a couple of days ago. We bought a property. It was a foreclosure, and that's how she gets her wholesale deals, is at the foreclosure steps. I hate the foreclosure steps. And she's got whole teams of people just like you. And I was able to take her to lunch because we bought this property that she got. She was going to rehab it, do the whole thing. We paid her 10 grand, and then she's done with it. She's happy. I took her to lunch because she's got a whole bunch of other properties. And so we formed a great relationship. And guys, just always people like Steve that have wholesale deals, you want to grab those whenever you can. And connecting with other wholesalers too. Sometimes they're full, they can't do.
Yeah.
I can't, so they pass it off to you and let you get with your network of folks that are buyers as well. Brilliant. So, what other advice do you have for the folks that are here today?
My advice is buy real estate, hold real estate. I mean, it's such a good wealth builder. If you do have sales and marketing skills, I recommend like doing direct to seller marketing. If you can do direct to seller marketing, I recommend doing some wholesaling, even if your intention is to buy. I- if you're buying, it's tough to keep marketing going because there's going to be lots of deals that don't meet your criteria. You might be full. But if you can wholesale, you can at least monetize those leads and therefore continue to market. So if you're into sales and marketing, I'll consider doing that. If you're not and you're more of the rehabber, get with all the wholesalers, like you said, and just let the deals flow to you. But buy real estate. It works.
And one of the things that I guess they're circling the wagons, closing the doors, making it more difficult. In Louisiana, do you have to have a license in order to do wholesaling?
You actually don't at this point. They have proposed that's just come up as the topic a few times in the legislature, but it hasn't. I do hear some rumors something might come. I'm watching what's going on nationally. I would imagine at some point it would come. I'm personally not too stressed because I do buy myself and like you know I wholesale ethically and stuff. So whatever it is, I'm sure I can figure it out.
Navigate it.
Yeah, I'm sure I can navigate it, and but I'm watching. I'm watching, but so far we're fine.
Yes, that's great news for you for sure, and definitely something, guys, to be cognizant of. Depending on where you are, there could be laws against wholesaling, but the way around it is you can become a real estate agent, and therefore you're exempt from that problem. And that's exactly who they want to do. They want to nail everybody and get them to be licensed so they can take the license away from them if they're not ethical. That's kind of the whole game there. So be thoughtful and careful about that. But definitely, Steve's got great advice of being able to access a lot of leads, but you might not want all of those leads and being able to pass them on to others. That's brilliant. Now, you are doing some other things as well, right? In your world, as far as funding and financing, how are you raising the money for your deals?
So I mean, I'm lucky in that I did have some seed capital. Obviously, IPO my company. I do have access to cash. So what I do use hard money sometimes, but I generally was using my cash to buy the properties and renovate it. And then I would do a DCSR loan to refinance that cash out, and then deploy it again. So I'm basically, I'm using cash up front, buy the property, fix it, then I refinance it out. They'll lend me 75% of the LTV. And normally, because I'm buying right, I can get all my money out, sometimes extra. So I basically the money, pull it back out, and leave the 30-year debt on that property, and the rent pays that down. And then I get the money again, and I buy the next one, and I just do the same thing. So I sort of use the same bunch of money to buy a lot of properties.
Cycle,
Cycle,
cycle through.
cycle,
Yeah.
cycle, cycle.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've got some great things to share with you too. So, if one question I forgot to ask you earlier, talking about wholesaling, what's your typical wholesale profit?
On average, it was about 8.5K last year. I do a lot of joint ventures. So if I joint venture, I split it in half. I'm not counting the other half. I'm only counting revenue we got. That's about the average. It can vary. I mean, I've had some real big ones. So I've done one when I've made no money, by the way. This probably is advice for wholesalers because I needed to close the deal because the seller matters and the buyer matters. So I had a deal. I got the price a little wrong. I still closed it. I still put the deal together. I didn't make any money, but I made my seller happy. I made my buyer happy. I did another deal, and I've sold more properties to that buyer. So you want to try to maximize your profit, but not at the expense of your sellers, your buyers, and do the deals. I have this saying: the more deals you do, the more deals you do. So just if you can do the deal, do it.
That's brilliant. That's great advice. So, tell us about your best deal.
But I can't. I do have a best deal. I'm not saying it, to be honest with you. It was really, 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 really good,
Really?
and I'm not saying it.
Okay, tell us about your worst deal then.
Um, uh, worst deal was a zero deal, but I mean, you can make a big hit if you have strong relationships with your buyers, if you can negotiate a good deal, and occasionally, like that home run deal just comes by. So they're there.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. One last thing. What would your advice be to someone looking at this business and they don't know which way to turn? They don't know if this is attractive. they don't know if this is what they ought to focus on, what would you tell them what to do?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about wholesaling, I would recommend you get with another wholesaler. So I think the quickest path to see if you're cut out for it and to get traction is to partner with another wholesaler who that's doing a lot of deals that has the buyers. Because wholesaling is a two-sided marketplace, just like my old business is a two-sided marketplace. You need sellers and you need buyers. And they're only valuable if you have both. Because to your sellers, if you're not buying it, you don't have buyers, you're not valuable to the seller. To the buyer, you don't have sellers, you're not valuable. So like it's chicken and egg. What do you do? So if you can get with an existing wholesaler who's doing deals, you tap straight into the buyers, right? And that wholesaler is going to joint venture with you, where if you get a contract and a seller, then they'll find the buyer. So if you get with that person and tell them what you're doing, they generally will help you. I know we do a lot of underwriting for the people we joint venture with. Like they'll come to us and say, "Hey, I'm speaking to a seller. Like, what price would I need to get?" And we'll run the numbers and we'll say, this is the price. So then now they can go to the seller and say, they can actually offer to do a contract and they know that if the seller signs it, they're going to move it because it's priced right and we have the buyers. So I think that's a way to shortcut to yourself to wholesaling in your market and rental properties. You just got to do it. Do it your way. So you're not managing the tenant. I mean, people don't do it because of tenants. Do it your way. Get a property manager, but you need to hold rentals long term to fight inflation and build long term wealth.
Amen. That's one of the things I beg the wholesalers to come to my class because I say, I'm a buyer from wholesalers. I love wholesalers. I think they're fantastic because they cut out a whole part of the business that I don't have to do. Please come to my class. Let me teach you what I'm doing with these properties that I'm buying from you. And I'm buying them right, buying them cheap, buying them creatively, not going to banks, not qualifying for loans. Let me show you what we're up to. And so it's so much fun to just kind of wake people up and say, yeah, I guess there's some of these cherries I could be picking along the way. One of these
100%.
things I could be doing. That one of the things that we do too is we find the buyer before we buy. So I loved what you were sharing about when you get with a wholesaler, they've got the buyers. And, so that's a perfect track because if you're just going to get started in this business and you don't have an inventory of buyers, then you really could get stuck with a property long term. So the whole idea of the house monster, that's what we call it, is find the buyer before you buy, and we could provide the marketing materials to do that with. And so it's a fun business when you've got an inventory of buyers, like you're saying. I love that advice. That's perfect. So what can we
100%.
do to help you, Steve?
I mean, if you're in Louisiana and got deals, let me know. I love deals here. I'm also on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, but yeah,
So over in
I'm just happy to
Biloxi?
help. Yeah, yeah, in Biloxi. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. I'm
We're
working on
liking that Gulf Coast. It's good areas, good start. So yeah, we started to getting there and we're really enjoying that market. We do like Lafayette, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Pacific Gulf Coast. That's sort of our bread and butter region. So if you're in those areas, get with me. If you're a buyer, if you're a wholesaler, definitely happy to connect. My website's homebuyerlouisiana.com. You can find me there. Check me out on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, all those socials as well. But I'm happy to help. I believe in go giver. I believe in just if you help people, the more you help, the more that comes to you. And it's not transactional. Like I can help someone and they don't need to give me anything. The universe will pay me back. Keep helping. You have that attitude. Things just flow to you. And that's very much my philosophy.
Oh, that's a great philosophy, man. We love that so much and definitely believe in it. My book is called Doing Good While Doing Well: How Real Estate Investors
Love it.
Provide a Service and Make a Difference, right?
Love it. Love it.
So yeah, that's
We
one of
definitely align. We definitely align very much so.
I love that. And you're looking at it from the right point of view. And guys, you always want to look at your business from the long-term point because if you think you can find a better industry, good luck with your program. But for the average person to just get with it and stick with it, there's nothing more profitable in investment in terms of return on investment as well as return on energy. I think that's ROE in my world, and I think that there's nothing better than real estate. What do you say, Steve?
I agree with everything you said. You definitely preaching to the choir. I agree philosophically with everything you're saying.
I love it, love it. Well, guys, Thank you for joining us today on another edition of the whole enchilada of real estate investing. We will see you again soon. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Thanks for tuning in to the whole enchilada of real estate investing. I hope you're feeling ready to take your investing game to the next level. If you're serious about building wealth, you won't want to miss the Millionaire Jumpstart. It's a 3-day live event that's perfect for any level of investor. Whether you're just getting started or you're looking to scale, this can be one of the final steps of making real wealth happen. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now at millionairejumpstart.com and get ready to make big moves in your real estate journey. I'm Lou Brown. Until next time, keep hustling. And remember, it's not about how much you make, it's about how smart you play the game.